like sponsor tutoring or like the runs, that's kind of self-explanatory, but for the more detailed events, if you need some information, you definitely can find that out on the website. Another big thing that we want to announce to you guys again is our 6th annual medical symposium. If you didn't hear about that last meeting, this meeting, what this medical symposium is, it's the largest medical symposium that UCF has seen so far. It's going to have 17 medical schools as well as a medical student panel. And this year we're really excited for our keynote speaker for the medical symposium. The keynote speaker is the president of the AMA of the United States. So it's really, it's kind of a big deal. We're really excited for that event. If you have not signed up for the medical symposium, I strongly encourage you to visit the Princeton Review. The Princeton Review office is located by the Towers. And if you go to the Towers, right here. If you go to the Towers and you actually register in person, they give you this book for free. It's the 168 best medical schools. It has like GPA, like what you need for that medical school, for that application. The book, I believe, is valued at $23, and you get that free for registering in person. So it's $25 for registration. If you register in person, you get a book valued at $23. So kind of, registration is about $2 technically. And then when you get there the day of the event, we'll have breakfast for you. We'll have you signed up for to go listen to about 6 different med schools. But everyone will be in the medical student panel. So you'll actually get to hear from all the medical schools, at least one medical student from that school. But for the small breakout sessions, it will be 6 medical schools of your choice. So again, for $2, you're basically getting breakfast, lunch. You're also getting a t-shirt, and you're getting an awesome experience to hear from 17 medical schools. If you're really interested in applying to medical school, I don't see why you would not attend a medical symposium that's here on your campus. So again, to register, go visit the Princeton Review. You can also call. Also, just a quick update. Matt Hanley, he also works for the Princeton Review. If you haven't registered yet, he'll be right outside of our meeting door right here today after our meeting. Just register with him right away. He actually brought the books with him. So if you have the money, Matt's in the back. If anyone doesn't know Matt's going to be outside registering people for symposium. If you have your $25 on hand, just go ahead and get registered. He'll sign you up for the med schools that you want to be in the breakout sessions, and he also has these books with him to give you in exchange for your $25. All right. Another big event that we're excited for about next week is an osteopathic medical panel that we were invited to by the Pre-Soma. Pre-Soma is the new osteopathic club here at UCF, and they're actually hosting osteopathic medical panel. The medical panel not only includes the one of the administrators from the Florida hospital, but it also includes about 2 chief residents and also the one of the first sergeant-at-arms of our pre-med AMSA, who is now a DO at Florida Hospital. So it's really cool to hear from an old AMSA member that's now actually a doctor practicing at Florida Hospital, and just to hear what he's done in the field, what he's done getting to medical school, and to come back to the Orlando community. That event actually happens to be RSVP. So the first 25 people that do RSVP to that event will definitely be able to attend. Again, there's going to be 2 chief residents at that event. There's going to be a doctor from Florida Hospital as well as an administrator. I believe he's the head of higher education over at Florida Hospital. So 4 awesome speakers will be at that event next Tuesday at 6:30 in Student Union 224. All right, and now to our Vice President.
Hey everybody, just a couple quick announcements. Study nights is back. We have 2 nights that we're doing it. Monday nights at the Princeton Review, and then also Tuesday nights after the meetings. They're both at the Princeton Review. And just as an added bonus, if you do attend, there is access to free printing. Don't take advantage, so definitely take advantage of it, but don't print like your textbook. But definitely take advantage of it. And it's great. It'll be actually quiet study this semester, because there is going to be a class going on in the classroom next door. So if you're worried about socializing or that kind of aspect of a study group, that won't be the case. It'll be quiet study. One more announcement, the PHPAO packet is open. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's for students who are applying for this fall for the 2014 medical school year. So definitely check it out. It is due in May, but it's open now, and to turn it in as soon as you can would be ideal. If you have any questions about the actual application, I don't know, but there is a meeting on February the 22nd from 1:30 to 3:30 at HPA 1, room 116. So that's just an opportunity that UCF provides for students, and it's an incredible opportunity to get a committee letter for your application. So definitely keep that in mind if you're applying this year.
Hello guys, so it's that time of the month where we go ahead
recognize those members and directors who have really committed to AMSA, and we just want to say that we appreciate all the hard work that you guys do for us. So the January Director of the Month is Laura Herndon. And then the January Member of the Month is Christopher Duke. So for those of you that were at the volleyball tournament, there's a little bit of a mishap with a broken toe, so we just want to go ahead and name George Dulane for being the toughest director of the month.
And for those who don't know, George was actually rushed to the ER from our volleyball tournament with a broken toe, and he's still here at our meeting. So George is awesome.
And then also, for those of you that are still interested in Relay for Life, if you have any ideas for fundraising or for events, please contact Stephen Matthews. His name is up here. He's the one in charge of Relay for Life this year, and who we're partnering up with for PPMS. So please contact him via Facebook, message, or I guess a comment would be good too. So just go ahead and contact him through Facebook.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's having a good Tuesday. Right after this meeting, 6:30, here there's a course auction for a Princeton Review course. It doesn't have to be for the MCAT, your friends, LSTAT, GRE, GMAT. It's at 6:30. It's a great way to get a discounted course. It's $2,300 value, so it's just a lot of money for any course. So right after this meeting, we're going to have a course auction for that. Our volleyball tournament was Saturday. It was a great success. We had 15 teams. Thank you guys for coming out. Give you guys a round of applause for that. We had a lot of fun out there. I mean, I know I did. Got burnt. I'm a little sore still, but it's okay. We still have our AMSA hoodies on sale. We have about 10 left. They're $25. So I know classrooms are cold. Go ahead and get it if you guys want it. It's $25. We have, like I said, 10 left. Minimum, limited on size. So I'll be out through the meeting with to accept checks. I'm not accepting credit cards today because I don't have the thing with me. But also the next meeting we'll go ahead and sell as well. And an update on the t-shirts. Like I told most of you, our small and medium t-shirts are on order. I just got confirmation to say that they are almost done. We're just figuring out how to get them here. They're not made in Orlando. So we should have them at the next general meeting, or for sure the meeting after that. So keep posted on that.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff on there. Most of it's volunteering. So who wants to tell me why we do volunteering? What does it do for our application? Makes it look good, well-rounded. They're looking for people who actually interact with people, not just their textbook. All right, so Boys Town Fostering is back Thursdays, 4 to 6, same time. Meet at Milken Hall at 4. We may, for those people, this may be exciting because some people are in class till 4:20. We may not be leaving till 4:20 now, but this week 4 o'clock. Just keep that in mind. Also, Tour de Cure is a bicycle race by the American Diabetes Association. They will be actually starting at UCF College of Medicine, and they need volunteers to help out with the race, whether it's handing out water, registration, etc. There's a sign-up sheet in the back. You need to either sign up there or email volunteering for Jace. If you want to get involved with that, it's March 17th, which is the day that we're coming back from the convention. So for those few people that are going, don't sign up for this. I'll be having a tennis social, as my directors put it, a socially awkward social for awkward people. Is that what it was? I don't know. We're not that awkward, but come out and play some tennis. If you have a racket, bring it. I'll buy a couple cannonballs and we'll just hit and have fun. Camp Boggy Creek, we are planning a AMSA event there. This is an awesome event. You help kids with a certain disease. Every weekend there's a different disease like spina bifida, leukemia, asthma. I don't remember what this weekend is, but this is a seller on your application. Like I've heard people say they get asked this about interviews and it has pushed them to get an acceptance as opposed to just maybe a wait list or, etc. So that's going to be in April, but you got to sign up because there's a short background check, short phone interview, nothing like scary, but it's very easy. Robin is in charge of that. Do you have the applications?
Yes.
She has applications if you're interested in that. The sooner you sign up, the better. Only 10 people for AMSA can go. Also, if you can't go this weekend, I would really like to go. They have all kinds of weekends available. Hopefully, as you know, shadowing is every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Monday is one person, Tuesday is 2 people, Thursday is 2 people. If you have any questions about that, come ask me or Heather over there. So Shackathon is canceled because we didn't raise enough money. If you donate to that and would like your money back, go see Heather as well. If not, all your money will be donated to Nighthon, which is our other big thon that we're trying to go to. But we will be going to that one. So hopefully you guys will sign up online at, I don't remember the website. It's pretty simple.
Just Google it.
Just Google Nighthon. I think it's the only place we do it, right? It's only at UCF.
Yeah.
So that's that. Any questions about anything? 3, 2, 1, go. All right.
All right, good evening, everybody. Josh, Sergeant at Arms. I'm still running around in the woods twice a week. You're all going to come and join me. Doesn't seem like you want to at this point. Alex has been coming. Shay comes, Wes, Robin, they come sometimes. Miranda's always there. There's some of us out there, so come join us. It's fun, right, Alex? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Adopt a road. On the days that we have these meetings, we have a section of road out on Gemini between University and Centaurus. Look for our sign out there, it's out there. And we need help cleaning it up and keeping it our section of road and keeping UCF beautiful, so come out and join me for that. I was out there today. Once again, don't make me go out there alone, it's not fun. Global Health Scholarship. So, guys, we announced this scholarship a while back and nobody's taken advantage of it. $250 and 15 AMSA points. The scenario is on our website under the media tab. There's going to be an email about it tonight, and I'm going to try and put it on Facebook tonight. Scenario about a global situation, and all you got to do is put forward an idea, and if it's the best idea, then you win. That's simple. I don't you guys want $250? I don't understand. Yeah, it's funny, right? So, Tom's. There, stand up. She'll be selling Tom's after the meeting. We're still having a Tom's party after spring break. So they're $44 cash for that. It's 2 pairs of shoes, one for you, one for the kids. And then there's a party where we're going to paint up UCF colors and all that kind of fun stuff. There is a Feeding the Homeless event Sunday the 17th of February at 4 p.m. It's through VUCF, it's not our actual event, but if you tag along, Chris will be there, and you'll get AMSA points and volunteer hours and all that kind of stuff. There's a carpool and all that. And then Clean the World is a big event where they clean bars of soap and send them off to needy countries. That is March 16th, but there's an info session for it on the 20th of this month in this room from 2 to 3 p.m. That's all I have. Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys, as promised, every meeting we do our best to bring you one of the best speakers that we possibly can. We've had an awesome group of diverse speakers both last semester and this semester, and today we're lucky enough to have one of our own directors bring a speaker. So I'm going to have our director come in and introduce the speaker. Lauren?
Hello, everyone. So it's a pleasure for me to introduce Dr. Susan Mulroney. She's the director of the Special Master's Program at Georgetown University, and she came all the way down from Washington, D.C. to talk to all of you about the program.
I can't believe you all are, if you can't hear me, just yell. I'm really used to talking to a lot of people in a big hall, so this is great. You all, what a great group. I'm really, really impressed at the organization and all the things you're doing. I think it's super. And it sounds like you're getting a lot of your questions answered as you're on your path towards medical school. I'm here today, and I thank Lauren and the whole crew for inviting me. I'm here to give you a little bit of an idea, since you are on your path to medical school, give you an idea of what to expect, and if the path isn't exactly straight, you know, what are options? And we talk about this at schools all over the country, because for one thing, medical school is hard to get into, right? I'm going to give you some statistics. Everybody. Sucks. I have a little handout here on a brochure on the program that I direct, the Special Master's Program. It's a Master's of Science through the Graduate School of Arts and Science, but we're at the Medical Center. I'm a professor at the Medical Center. I have done research for a million years, teach, direct programs. So it's at the Medical Center, it's with medical students, but it's a master's through the graduate school at Georgetown. So just to be clear on that. But what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of an idea of medical school application. You've probably heard this before, but I want you just to understand what a school like Georgetown is dealing with. I was on the Georgetown School of Medicine admissions for about 10 years. At that time, I read through about 10,000 personal statements and applications. I hate reading personal statements, I gotta tell you. It's like, oh my God, if I hear about, and it was Christmas Eve, and I saw the bike out front, and I went, and I broke my leg, and I was like, and I'm like, yeah, right. What a great personal statement. So don't, no, if you want to write that, it's okay, really. Anyway, but I want to give you an idea of what's going on here. There are 43,000 applicants to medical schools this past year. It's growing every year. The good news is we're growing medical schools. There are more medical schools, and a lot of the existing medical schools are increasing the number of matriculants every year. But it doesn't really, it really can't bite into a lot of that 43,000. Almost half those applicants do get in. About 19,000 get into medical school. And that's great, but it still leaves a lot of students, a lot of good applicants who don't get in. So what do you do? So I'd like to be talking to you today about what are options, what types of things can be done if you don't get that in that first round of medical school. Next, thank you, Josh. Let me give you an idea at Georgetown Med. At Georgetown Med, we had about 11,500 applications this past year. We interview about 10% of those, little over 1,000. To seat a class of 196, we accept a little over 400. These are the statistics, about a 3.7 science and overall GPA, and an MCAT of 32. That's a little bit higher than nationally. Nationally, it's about a 3.6 science and overall GPA, and a 31 MCAT. Climbing up to 32, it may be around 32 this year. So these are hard statistics to get. You all have been working very hard. I know that especially if you've had an all-science curriculum or major, or double major, or major and minor here at UCF, that it's darn hard to get those kinds of numbers. These are averages. Does it mean you have to be there to be a good applicant? No. There are good applicants with 3-4 science GPAs who can get into great schools, but this is the average. Schools have to look at everything, but the first thing is going to be a numbers game, just because of the huge volume of applicants we have. So we'll come back to this and what Georgetown looks like later. What are reasons, if you don't get into medical school right away, what happens to the students who just never end up going? The typical reasons are they quit trying. Because if you're persistent and what your dream is, I want to be a physician, I want to serve others in their health care, I really want to do this and I want to do it as a physician. If you persevere, you can usually get it. It may take a couple of years, it may take an interesting pathway to get there, but if you've got good advice and you work really hard, you can usually make it. Why don't you go? Maybe they don't get good advice, maybe they don't take the advice they're given. That's a good reason. There may be something really wrong with your application. It might be undergraduate grades, it might be an MCAT, it might be you didn't have good experiences and you didn't go out and get any. It doesn't sound like that's going to be y'all's problem. Another issue may be communication skills, that when you get that all-important interview, you just can't articulate why you want medicine. You can't answer their questions well. Interview skills are really important, and anytime you can get any kind of help with this, it's a benefit to you. So understand that if you get to the point where you get an interview, they are really interested, that school is really interested in you, and they want to see, is the fit good? How do you communicate? What do you know about our school? What do you bring to our school? What your job is going to be is to be able to tell them that. So the interview is really important. Thank you. So, as you come through, you're figuring out how to get to medical school and what your strategy is going to be. You have to determine what your best path is. And part of that is doing a really good look at what is your, look at your application, see if there's anything that might be able to be helped. Did you apply to the correct schools? Some people say, oh, and I have students like this all the time. They're like, oh, I'm going to apply to the best schools. I've got a good GPA. I'm good. I can tell you right now that someone from Princeton with a 3.8 GPA and 33 MCATs is going to get a lot of rejections. That's just the way medical schools are. So it's not, you really have to be kind of sensible in choosing schools. Choose some like, oh man, if I could go here, this would be wonderful. Choose some that look like, yeah, I think these look like my overall record is good with that. And then have some that like, okay, I would definitely go there. It's maybe not my top choice, but I definitely go. You've got to be, have a good idea of a range of schools, not just say, I'm only going to apply to the top 10 schools in the country. You may want to improve your application form. What about it? What are going to be the important parts of it? Your academic career, your MCAT, your experiences. That's what makes up your application. You need to look through it and see, is there something here that I could work on? And part of your strategy may be improving credentials. If you already have, let's talk about if you already have a 3.8 or in a 3.6 science GPA, you've done really well. You have a 32 MCAT. You're all go. Apply to medical schools. Do due diligence to all the schools you apply to. Make sure the secondaries come back. When they come back, you get them back in a timely manner, and you get them back specific for that school. If you know people who've gone to the school, talk to them. Find out more in-depth information about a certain school, so that when you ask for secondaries, they know that you know more about them than just reading off the web. That this, like, I like the locale or something. Now, if we look at if you're borderline, and I would say that a 3.5 times GPA is still good. That is what we would call like a cutoff for potential interview at schools. We say about a 31 MCAT, a 3.5 science GPA, at least a 3.5 overall GPA is going to make those kind of cutoffs for interest. You may or may not get an interview with that, but it would be of interest to schools. If you think you need, like, you maybe applied once and you're not, you don't get in, or you get interview but you don't get in, you might get on wait lists. Don't get in, need to reapply. Look at your credentials carefully, and this is even if you're applying for the first time. Be really objective about your credentials. If your MCAT is below average, how far below average is this something that you might need to take the MCAT over again? How much clinical experience do you have? How much volunteer experience do you have? Medical schools want to know this. I know at Georgetown, we really want to know if you're interested, if you're a first-time applicant and you have the numbers and you're really interested in Georgetown, we're going to be interested in you if you are really interested in serving the community, if you've done volunteer work, if you have had the clinical experience. We want to know that you understand what, at least in general, what a career in medicine, what the pros and cons are. It's not all rosy. Do you understand that? Have you seen patient-physician interactions? What are good characteristics for physicians to have? in working with diverse cultures, diverse people, different socioeconomic levels. The more you can bring to the conversation with your experiences, the better. That's what we want to know. That's what most medical schools want to know. So you might want to think about this. Do I have enough experiences? Do I want to try to see about different experiences to broaden my outlook? Do you need to gain research? Do you want to gain research experience? Do not do this unless you want to. I think one of the some of the worst interviews I ever have for the medical school is if I have someone come in there who has all this stuff on there, and I ask them, so why did you go in that lab? Well, I thought it would look good on my MCAT, my AMCAS application. I'm like, oh my God, no, you didn't actually tell me that. Really. If you want to do any of these experiences, it should be because you think this might be interesting. You want to investigate. And that's the same thing with research. It's not going to be for everybody. Some people want to do it. Do not think that this is going to be a make or break for medical school. It's great if you have it. If you don't have it, it's not going to be the kiss of death, except at a couple schools where they really want to have this. If you're interested in Johns Hopkins or Duke, some of these schools, they have this built into their medical curriculum. They want you to have a research foundation, and they'll want that coming in, so they'll want something there. But just to do it, if you're not interested in it, I really wouldn't go to that. I would use your time really valuably in a clinic where people need you. To do something that's really going to help the community out if you don't feel like doing that. Lastly, do you think you need to improve your academics? And one of the reasons I was specifically called here was to give you an idea of what types of things can help bolster academic performance for medical school. And I think you can give no, it's not flying in. Somehow something didn't fly in. Anyway, I thought I had some nice zoom in thing. There you go. I ruined the whole presentation. Academics are really important. A lot of people, if you don't get in right away, it's like, what do you do? What's going to help to keep you moving forward into towards medical school? You have to see what's going to work for your personal issues. It may be that you just might need to, you'd be fine, you've done fine, you just want to keep taking some undergraduate courses. My suggestion, if you have a good academic record already, if you haven't taken biochemistry, I highly recommend it. Medical schools don't require it yet, but I'll tell you right now, if you have it, it can really help. I know at Georgetown, I think that the people who come in with biochemistry have a lot better time their first couple months because that's what the curriculum is heavy in. And if you get off to a kind of rocky start, it kind of takes down your confidence level. So I always say that if you feel like that, if you want to take just some extra science courses, especially if you've been in humanities, you've taken prereqs, pre-med prereqs, but you're not a science major, taking a couple extra science courses can be very valuable. You can also actually go into post-baccalaureate programs. This is if you were say you were an econ major, finance major, and you decided late that what you were really interested in was medicine and you don't have all the prereqs or any of the prereqs, but you really want to do this. The traditional post-bac programs are the pre-med prereqs, and there'll be two sessions of biology, 2 of physics, 2 chem, two orgo, and 2 gen chem. And that's a traditional post-bac. So it's for someone who was in something else, wants to change. And these are undergraduate courses, of course. Great programs all over the country that serve this. We have one at Georgetown, but there are ones all over in the undergraduate campuses. They're great if you don't have the prereqs to begin with. If you have prereqs to begin with and you just didn't do so well say freshman year when they make you take all this freshman and sophomore year, and you are working, doing all these wonderful volunteer activities, and something has to give, and sometimes it's, going into Orgo, or, having Gen Chem or physics, and you don't do as well as you think you should have. I wouldn't just retake those. I'd think about taking some upper level courses, or maybe doing some other program. There are traditional graduate programs such as, Masters of Science in Biology or Chemistry, or going for an MPH, going for public health, something like that. These are all great. I tend to suggest them to students who don't necessarily need the academic enhancement. They're around what could get them into medical school to begin with, and they just want to keep on going and enhance their general knowledge for moving on, or they have a real interest in public health and they want to get that MPH in there before they go to medical school. But you should still have, for a regular program, you should have somewhere near a GPA that is right around what they want to assess. Because these are great programs and you learn a whole lot, but it's on a graduate level, it's going to be a little bit different than being in medical school. So medical school, admissions committees say this is wonderful, but we still don't know if you're going to be really going to be able to handle the medical school work if you haven't had a really solid undergraduate GPA. And then we have these special graduate programs. And the next one, thank you, Josh. And so this is, these are for the science enhancers that we're talking about. It may be graduate science courses. You may have a certificate. I'm going to talk about one of these in a couple of minutes. These are going to be great when you want to show a high level of academics to move on, and it might be into another MS program or into medical school, but it's very specific for the student, whether you need something like this or you need a more of a master's level program. These special graduate programs, I'm going to focus a lot on this now because that's one of the things I'm representing. These special programs are designed specifically for medical school applicants. How many people is everybody here is AMSA, so you're all interested in med, not necessarily dental or anything else like that. So these special programs are specifically for medical school. This special master's program is specifically for students who want to go to medical school. Otherwise, it's way overkill. It's best for, trust me, you don't want this year, this 10 and a half months of misery unless you want to go towards medical school. It's best for qualified students who have great, your MCAT's fine, you have these great experiences, but your grades are under the 3.5 that we would say is what medical schools are interested in. What these programs do is allow students to show what they can do in the medical environment, in the medical school environment. These are highly specific. They're at medical centers. We now have a proliferation of them. The Georgetown Special Master's Program is the oldest one. The other ones that came through were based on what we decided to do 37 years ago or 40 years ago or whatever it was. We have several established programs. I'm going to give you a couple. Ours is the oldest. I'll tell you it's the hardest. It is, I tell people all the time, how can you, tell a friend to do this? This is just not something you would tell anyone to do unless you don't like them. The IMS program at Drexel. Drexel has a whole lot of different programs. The IMS is specifically like ours. It is a 2-year program though. It's a year certificate, 2 years for the master's degree, but you do take medical courses like the special master's program. The MSP at BU, you again take medical courses. So these are a lot different than taking a regular master's curriculum where you're taking graduate level courses only and not in the not medical courses. what you have to do is figure out, what's the difference between these programs. There are also a whole lot of what we call boutique programs, where they're much smaller. Those are the 3 biggest programs in the country, but there are small programs at different schools. And they're wonderful. If you want to go to that school, they're terrific. If you want to go to Tulane has a program like this, Cincinnati, Eastern Virginia Medical. There are lots of programs like this that if you want to go to that school, perfect programs. If you get in and you do well, you've got a pretty darn good chance of getting in that school. So we have a whole lot of those that have been started in the past 10 years or so, and it's good to see when you're looking at, gosh, what schools am I interested in, to take a look at what's out there, what programs are out there. Well, things to consider when you're choosing a program. Admissions history and the spectrum of medical schools that the students get into from the program. One of the things we're really proud of is that we get students into schools all over the country. Georgetown, the S&P is not a feeder school for Georgetown Med, even though a lot of students have ended up going there. I have no deal with Georgetown. It's not a linkage, it's nothing. Tomorrow they could say, we don't want to take any more of the students. However, they know how phenomenal our students, our graduates are, and they always want to take them. So for the past multiple years, they've taken about 30 students out of my class of 180. Very pleased about that. But it's not a given. And we get students in their state schools and schools all over the place. Another thing to consider when you're choosing a program, to decide whether it's a degree, whether you're ready for a degree granting program or you're much more in line with getting a certificate program. There are reasons or rationale for doing these. Some people really only need to prove that they can do high-level work, 20 credits of high-level work to be a great applicant. Some might need more. Some might want to do the master's, full-fledged master's. So these are things to consider. How long is the program? Is it less than a year or is it 2 years? This is something to consider for not only cost, but if you maybe don't have an MCAT yet and you want to be in a 2-year program because you want that prep to be able to take the MCAT and then apply, that's a consideration also. Whether you have straight graduate courses versus medical courses, again, that would take you up a notch when you go up into the medical courses. It gives the admissions, medical admissions, more to work with, more to understand about what your level of academics is reflecting. Conditions of the medical classes, if they have medical classes, do you sit in the class or are you on another campus and getting either video feed or lecture capture? These things work, absolutely. You just need to know what's good with me, what will work for me. The academic atmosphere and student-faculty interactions. Do you actually have an advisor? Okay, are there people to ask questions to? Is the peer group good? And if there's additional support and education for the medical school applicants. Having the support as a medical school applicant, having good advice and good support is really key. I think that's one of the things that we try to do pretty well, and I have a lot of gray hair from doing it, actually. So, I'd like to talk about the Special Master's Program now and some of the other programs that we have at Georgetown. Before I start, are there any questions about general, and questions about getting into medical school, general admission, anything that I've been talking about, the different types of programs? Anything? Yes?
Hello. So obviously, when you file a personal statement with the life and everything, what are you looking for in a personal statement?
You know what? After reading the billions, maybe trillions of them, the key is you don't want to do anything that's on too much one way or the other. Most personal statements are absolutely fine. I would not agonize over them. What you want to do is give something that is a good reflection of who you are, what your motivations for medicine are, and give them a flavor of, what your thoughts are on all this. There are very few make or break. There are, people aren't sitting there saying, oh my God, this is the most amazing personal statement about to have this person. And for the most part, they're not opening and saying, oh my God, this is a crazy person. It's not like that. You want to have something that reflects you well, that's well written and doesn't have typos, and that essentially goes from one part to another. It can absolutely be about when you broke your arm and the care you received, or it can be about a family member who was ill and you were very attuned to all of the medical care they were receiving. This is absolutely fine to talk about. It's fine to talk about your medical mission to Haiti. Any of these things are wonderful. It's not going to be a make or break. Don't put it too far on either end. Just make it a nice reflection of who you are. Nobody's looking for anything specific other than learning a little bit about you. And people who take far too much time agonizing over this. Just find something good and get a couple people to look at it and then send it out. A great question. I deal with questions like that constantly, and people still get, it has to be perfect. I don't know what perfect is. So, any other questions? Okay, so what is the SMP? Thank you, Josh. The power of the program is our curriculum, 95%, because of putting it in medical courses. The support, that's that 5% only is like 90% too, because we've got amazing people who work with our students. And then the overall environment at Georgetown. Georgetown Medical School, really hard medical school. It's upper tier, it's top tier, Carnegie Class 1 institution. They expect a lot out of us, and we give it to the first year students and second year students. They have remarkable training, and the students in my program get 6 of these M1 basic science courses. It's awful. It's just horrible. The students are miserable all year. It's great. That's why we need to have a lot of support, and I use up a lot of tissues. This is what makes it so good. In the fall, the students come in and the program begins in early August. The medical school begins about the second week of August. The medical courses are in black print, and this is the fall curriculum. We have what's called block schedule for medical school, so the first course is about a month long. You have two exams and it's done. That's molecular and cellular physiology. It's heavy biochemistry but with some physiology in it. Comes fast and furious. We help everybody. The first couple days of class, I talk to the students and it's like doe in headlights. They are so freaked out at all the material. And by the end of the first week, it's like, now I'm used to it. Now I understand what you meant by I have to study 6 to 8 hours a day, and they're doing it. And they're seeing the rewards from it. But it's scary. It's scary at first. This is the next block. There's about 5 weeks for M&E, for metabolism, nutrition, and endocrinology. Once that medical course is done, this is at the beginning of October. You've had 2 medical courses. We send out grades. You can send out updates to schools, medical schools. And we have, another thing about our program that's different than other programs is we want pretty much all the students who matriculate to apply to medical school before they come to the program. So they're in process when they're in the program. It matters a lot. We can keep updates going. They're showing schools, how they're doing within 2 months. And we have a lot of success with this. Over half the students who matriculate immediately attend school, medical schools, starting in August, right after they finish. So it does work, a lot in part because we keep up with with updates to schools. We then have a little block of time, and these, the courses in blue are graduate courses that we give together in a block of about 6 weeks, I think. It is all in support of the medical courses, the things you're learning in the medical courses, and will help for medical school when you matriculate in medical school. Once this block of graduate courses is done, you take cardiopulmonary module, and these are the credits that are in parens. And that's the biggest module. It's a bone breaker. This is where we start the real systems-based courses, and in these systems courses you have physiology, gross anatomy, histology, and embryology within that system. Big course, it goes through and into January before it's done. And at this point, so in mid-January, you have all of these grades that get sent out as another update to schools. And even as soon as September, our students are getting, a lot of students will start getting, I won't say a lot, some students start getting very early interviews just by being in the program. By December, we have them getting a lot of interviews coming in. And by January, we can send out all these fall grades, and they continue to come in. The interviews continue to come in. To date, I think, and this is really early yet, but we have about 25% of the class has been accepted to schools already. That's really astounding. So fast and furious, you got to keep up with everything. But again, it's the power of the program. In the spring, I just finished, I would direct and teach the physiology and the GI biology module. Students are doing great, they're sending out grades again. We keep up with class meetings, telling students what to do. They're now in the renal biology. That's, my course was 3 weeks. 3 weeks. At the end of it, you get a written exam and a gross anatomy practical. And that's it. That's your grade. So it's not for the faint of heart, I can tell you that. Renal biology, sexual development and reproduction, these are the last of the systems courses, and the last of the medical courses. So by the end of March, your medical courses are all done. You get updates out again, and what you take for the rest of the curriculum are graduate courses. And that's great. They're hard. They're going to, be wonderful synthesis of so much of what you've learned through the years. We'll reinforce it. We'll put it together with a lot of pathophysiology, give you some introduction to neuroscience on a graduate level, and then there's a capstone literature paper that you get to do. Having all of the medical courses done in March is really great, because the medical schools take this, they know now what you can do in the medical environment, and can make a really good decision as far as whether you go to their school. And the difference here versus a regular master's type program is people leaving a regular master's program, even in the sciences, your average GPA is going to be a 3.6, something like that. In an MPH, it may be 3.8. In the S&P, if you get out with a 3.3, you're doing super. You can get into medical school, they'll be happy, you'll be a star in medical school. And I know that, and I can say that with impunity because I see it every year. I see students going out who've had this, who get by, and are stars in medical schools. It really does the trick. Our outcomes, again, 50 to 60% of the current class get in immediately into medical school every year. Over 80% attend medical school overall, and 85%, that 15% that don't, they either decide, I've been through this now, and I realize I'm not like my peers. I don't want to do this all the time. This is way more than I wanted. I got in for it, and I'm glad I did it. I have my master's, I can move on with that. Some go on to doctoral work. Some go into go into law school, some go into dentistry, they'll do something else, but the master's helps not hugely being ahead. But they've decided that they don't want to do this. We don't, you know, it's forever Georgetown. Once you're a Georgetown alum, we'll help you out. You know, I get the calls from students, you know, 5, 6 years out saying, oh, I want to do this, can you write a letter? It's like, sure, no problem. We will support any of our alumni. And we'll remember everything about you too, so you can't do anything like, well, sketchy, because I remember all. The other thing we think is really wonderful, again, is the students are accepted all over the country. I think this is a really great thing, especially if you're interested in state schools, et cetera, or getting out and not having just one choice. Lots of times you have many choices. A lot go on in independent subspecialties and advanced programs. Again, you're empowered. When you come out of the program, the students are really empowered to perform and succeed, and they tend to go on and be really tremendous physicians. So what does it take to be a good applicant to the SMP? You need all your science prereqs for a medical school application. And again, I look specifically if you have biochemistry also, in addition. I think that's really great. If you don't, it doesn't mean you're just not going to be acceptable. It's just that you would get a little note, yes, you're accepted, but Amy Richards, who sends the note out, will say, you know, it would be great if you could take a biochemistry course before you come. Again, to be prepared, or study up on biochemistry. Our requirements are an undergraduate GPA, overall GPA of 3.0 or above. The average in the curriculum is about 3.2 or 3 every year, and average an MCAT of 28 or above. Our average is about 31.5. And clinical experiences. Again, everything should be the same as medical school except the GPA. That's what we're thinking about. And again, research is not mandatory. A lot of students come with tremendous research, and that is wonderful, especially if they want to continue on in the future, and a lot of schools can be very interested in that. Again, these are the credentials. For the class that I have right now, this doesn't really change. It bounces around a little bit between 30.5 and 32 for an average MCAT. This I want to show you. These are the students from the SMP who got into the Georgetown class in 2016, so the ones from last year who got in. I want you to know that despite the fact that the overall pool at Georgetown for matriculating into the medical school is 3.7 GPA, science GPA, 32 MCAT. The students from my program who got in have a 3.3 science GPA. And they were taken in because of their performance in the special master's program. Yeah, see, I did do a flame. This just gives you an idea that the students, this is just the past couple of years, some of the schools that the students have been accepted into, and this doesn't even have, we had one get into Brown last year, some of UCSF, I don't know if we have some of these, but we get them in all over the country, and I think that that's something we're really pleased about. This is us. If you call, that's a little bit younger me, I think. We have Jenny Whitney. It also teaches our gross anatomy on the cadaveric dissector, so she's the gross anatomy person. Dr. Myers is a cardiovascular physiologist and teaches the CV portion, and also is the co-author of Netter's Physiology with me. And Tom Sherman teaches nutrition and some of the med courses, as well as form. And anybody who contacts our office is going to meet Amy Richards, who's absolutely amazing, and one of the best advisors I know. And what else do I have here? I think I've got some other programs this time. Next, please. For those of you, are you completely like glazed over? Or can you see a little tiny bit more? More. Good. Anybody who's interested in these programs, my suggestion is always apply to a couple. The certificate, we have joint programs with George Mason that we started, and we have a certificate. The ABS, the Advanced Biomedical Sciences Certificate, is a tremendous program. This is graduate level, advanced graduate level courses that are totally applicable to medical school. It has our medical physiology course, it's got, on a graduate level, biochemistry, statistics. Wonderful thing, wonderful course. Is an outstanding advising and support. And for a lot of people, this is all you need to show what you can do at a high level and go on to medical school. And I teach in this support. I go out and teach out and listen to this too. We have a sister program to the SMTV, which is on the next page, I believe. Oops, this is pretty. To the SMP. And this is the same as the Georgetown SMP. It is just at Mesa. We have lecture capture that we give the same medical courses out at Mason. And then faculty come and will give periodic lectures and cases, etc. It's a different environment. It's a much smaller program. I have 180 students at Georgetown. They're sitting with the medical students. It's highly stressful. Lots of students thrive in that. Some rather be in a little more, less stressful situation. This is amazing. Tons of support here in this program, and the outcomes are actually even better than at Georgetown for getting into medical school thus far. Same as I said. What else do I want to say? Same for curriculum. Last thing I want to talk to you about is if you have an interest, if you're already cranking away and you really have an interest in seeing what either Georgetown Medical School is like or what a medical course is like, we actually offer summer medical courses at Georgetown. And these are for any either rising juniors, seniors, post-bac, so if anyone who's graduated can come and take one of these courses. And they're also used for remediation in medical schools. So medical schools around the country, if a student fails physiology or gross anatomy, they'll come and remediate. And we give a chance for interested students to come and be in these classes. It's a great experience. You see what Georgetown is like, you see what medical school classes are like, and we've had, there's a lot of enthusiasm for coming and taking these courses. It's most of these courses, you can only take one course, and then you get physician and society seminars and the medical admission workshop as part of the package. But each of these courses is intensive. They're every day, so you take one medical course and you can have the seminars with it. These are gross and human physiology. These are like 6 weeks. The histology is only 4 weeks, of course. If you have interest for this, I had some flyers, but if you look on the website, it isn't open yet for admission, but if you're interested in it, you just can contact anyone there, and when the site opens, you're welcome to apply if you are interested. A lot of students, you can use this in different ways, just see what it's like. If you get approval from your dean here at UCF, if you have an elective that you haven't used yet and you want to use one of these for an elective, you can actually have it, if it's approved by UCF, you could have it go towards your degree. So that's great. I think that that's about it. So if we have information here, and I'd love to entertain any questions you have about medical school application or programs or any other programs that you might be interested in. Thank you for letting me talk.
Your program in particular, and some of the other programs like it, what are we looking at for cost?
So cost, great question. What is the cost of these programs? They're far-ranging. The Georgetown SMP is $45,000 for the year program, and then there's costs for living expenses. There's financial aid that can cover all of that, but it's in the form of student loans through Georgetown. We've never had anyone turn down this, so.
Not the same as the George Med School.
It is yes, it is. Now, at Georgetown, if you get into Georgetown, you don't have to take these courses over again, and they do have a slight reduction for M1 tuition. I know this is a big cost. This is one of the reasons why, if you need any of these things, you have to look and say, what do I need? What's going to be my best path? Because any of these things cost money. If you do the 2-year program, if you do like 2-year Drexel, it's about $20,000 a year in tuition, and then you have the living expenses for 2 years on top of it. Same thing with Boston. So with all of these, you have to take into account how long do I want to do this? What do I want to get out of it? Is a different program going to suit me enough? Is a certificate program enough? The certificate that we offer at George Squared, the 20 credit certificate, is about $26,000, $24,000, $25,000, and it's 10 months. So again, you have a wide range of costs. Most of these programs that are at major medical centers tend to be pricey. So great question, yes?
Does the SMP program accept international students or yes?
Yes. SMP accepts international students. You just have to go fill out the forms that we need through the international, through the graduate school. But absolutely. And that's an important issue because some schools do not. Yes?
My question is specifically for the med school. I want to work in underdeserved areas. Does the school offer med students the ability to work in those populations, or?
Great question. So the question is underserved areas, if you're interested in working with underserved populations. Georgetown, we really want to serve the community, and we actually have what's called Hoya Clinic, which is a student-run clinic in Southeast, where old BC General was, and it's for underserved, and it's student-run. It of course has attendings helping out, but it's a fantastic opportunity to work with the community. We also have a lot of students going out and working at some of the clinics in town, homeless clinics, and we have a great HIV/AIDS clinic in Walker that they work at. So there's a wide range of clinics. Georgetown is very much into service, and that's a big part of it. Good question. Yes?
So as a traditional undergrad, you're supposed to apply to medical school like the summer for senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So when would you apply for this program? Exactly.
Great question. So there's different, so if a student, if you're a junior now and you're going to be a senior next year, normally everything's fine. You apply to medical school in the summer, and you find out how you do while you're a senior, right? And how many people are seniors and are in the process right now? A couple? Not many. How many are juniors? So you're going to be doing this, right? So you'd apply. It's awful. It's an awful thing. So just have fortitude. Remember that applying to medical school is one of the hardest things to do. You're going to get more rejections than anyone ever gets in their life. You have to just say, this is what I want, and all it takes is that one saying, you have an interview and you're accepted, and it makes like childbirth. You forget about how awful it is. So you can apply, if you're going into your senior year, you have your MCAT, you apply. You're in the process at that time. When do you apply to the SMP? Some students have not, if you know that you feel like you're going to have a gap year, you're either taking your MCAT late, or you already know that you want to have some enhancement, some academic enhancement, you can apply to the SMP in the fall. We have it open starting in September. for the next year, for August matriculation. We have rolling admissions, so when it comes in, by the time I get it, you know, the files are complete, we start getting it. I will start, if it's good applicant, I'll start accepting as soon as the file's complete. What also happens though is for students who have been in process but either haven't gotten interviews and realize at the time I'm either borderline or I really want to get, you know, keep on moving towards medicine, come spring, come, you know, February, March, people will say, oh, you know, I really want to be doing something next year. I may not be medical school. You know, I want to do one of these enhancement programs, and you can apply then. Our deadline is May 15, so as long as it's in before May 15, we'll process it, and I absolutely guarantee you're looked at and you're looked at seriously, and you could get in. I have people applying the last day and get into the program. Yeah. Oh, did you have another question?
Yeah, is there, because there's like a saying, there's like a bottleneck for med school applications, like the earlier you get in, the better you can have like it, or whatever. It's also applied to the,
So, not really. I will say it's better to get, if you think you want to do this at all, I think it's better to apply and get, because I put a time stamp on it, I put a date stamp on everything. So even if you're taking, you have an MCAT or you're taking another one and you want me to see the new one, you just need to let us know. That time stamp, when I see it, when we get the new information in, I make a decision, but then I'll put, you know, if it's an accept, you go ahead of a timestamp with someone who applied later. So it does matter when you get in, but I will say every year I have students who apply the last day and will accept them because they're really good applicant. So, you know, I'll say yes and no. If you're in line, it helps you to get everything in and you're all ready to go and you're, you know, I can accept you right away. I also have a great big wait list, which people get off of all the time. I review it every month. And just like medical school, because the program is so competitive, I get students who want to come to the program, but then at the last minute they get into medical school, so they open up a seat. So I gave them a seat, it opens up, I plunk someone off the wait list into that seat. So, you know, it may be, I have students who are accepted the day of orientation for me. So it's kind of a constant thing. I can tell you, you'll always be looked at though.
This is more for the school in general. This location, are there any unique opportunities that the school has for people interested in public health?
So any unique opportunities for students interested in public health? I'll say if you come to the program, if you come to like the SMP, we want you to focus on that. I tell people, one of the reasons lots of people come is you're doing all these great things and you kind of got off track undergrad. We have to have you focused. We have to make this $45,000 worth it. So we make people focus. There's tons of great stuff around Washington for public health because we're at the center of health policy. We do have seminars, et cetera, that happen at the school that you can, of course, go to. But that year is really for you to be, focused on what you're doing. So we don't tell you, oh yeah, look at this great opportunity over here. We do have other things going on now.
In regards to SMP, are the GPA and the MCAT requirements, are they a requirement or is it interchangeable? Like, if you have a really high GPA, but your MCAT's a little slacking under the sleeve.
So we look at everything and take everything into account. The MCAT, everybody we bring in, we want to make sure the MCAT's on a level that can get you into medical school. Because I don't want your money. I want to give you the best biomedical graduate education in the country, and I will do that. But if the MCAT can't get you into medical school, it's like you have this wonderful background, but that one piece is missing. It depends on the total package, and it depends on the person. And we give lots of advice on what to do, or if this is the right program versus another program. If you have a really high undergraduate GPA, or a really good GPA, but you still want to work on show them what you can do. Something like the certificate program is wonderful. We have students go into this all the time. There's MCAT prep, there's work on this. They usually succeed and get into medical school by doing that. And so it's not a necessity that I usually counsel people against. I might accept you to the SMP, but I'll say, do you really want to come? Your GPA is already great. Think twice. Maybe something else, if you still want to go to school, maybe something else would be a better fit. That's where the fit comes from. But I think you're welcome to give us a holler, and we deal with people, or I'm going to be here for a while afterwards. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'll be here if you have specific questions. I'm happy to help out. Yes?
I'm just curious, the program is so difficult. What's the dropout rate for the SMP at Georgetown?
So amazingly enough, even though I tell everybody how awful it is, people don't want to leave. They just don't want to leave. And despite the fact that, for the most part, I take what is considered an at-risk population of students who, they didn't do as well maybe in undergrad, but I'm putting in this awful environment, they succeed. And I probably have overall, at the end of the time, maybe 7%, only 7%. So maybe 10 people out of 180, 12 people. So I don't know why they want to stay, but it works. It works. Good questions. I want to say one other thing. We've got a great diverse population here, and I think that there's always, I want to bring up our Georgetown Experimental Medical School. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I always get the acronym wrong. The GEMS program. This is for students who are either from disadvantaged or underrepresented minorities, but they want to work with the community, want to work with broad interests in the community. This is an amazing program because you have to have applied to medical school once and not gotten in, but their requirements, their MCAT requirements and their GPA requirements are a little bit less, but they work, and it's phenomenal at the level of support you get, and most of those students end up matriculating at Georgetown Medical School. So something to think about just in the future if one of these other pathways don't work, and you do have, you either have some disadvantaged status, we have people from all over the country applying to the program and having, it's wonderful successes. Trying to think of any other great programs. We have regular master's programs. Any other questions? I wish you the best. Yes, yes.
How do you do to get around, like transportation-wise?
Transportation-wise in DC, so at Georgetown, we have Metro, we have what's called a GUTS bus, the Georgetown transport bus, that'll take you to the Metro, but we don't live near Metro, so we're like 2 miles from the nearest, and 1.5 miles from the nearest Metro. So you can get around once you're in the system, you go all over DC. Most of the students live fairly near campus, and near the medical center in my campus. Anyway, I wish you all the best success in your endeavors. It's a worthy goal, it is a calling, and I love your enthusiasm already, so keep it up. And never say never. If you want medical school, there really is usually a path to get there. So keep it going. Okay? And again, thank you for letting me come.